Welcome to Redhead Rewriting Reality by Kimberly Sue Iverson, the story of my life as I figure out who I am after a lifetime of abuse and share my journey with that. Sharing my journey of building my author career, the struggles, bettering self, and creating a new life. I'm a multi-genre author who's published more than 53 stories and coming to you from the Pacific Northwest. And this podcast is for you because, like me, you love stories, journeys, and you just want to relax for a bit. So let me take care of you. This audio is intended for an adult audience. Themes and topics may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Now, get yourself comfy and make yourself at home. And let's dive in. Let's talk stalkers. Coming up next week is Tarzan of the Apes by Edgar Rice Burroughs. In the meantime, something was on my mind. So let's talk stalkers. I have seen posts about a lot of dark romance that has themes that can understandably affect people. So let's talk about stalkers in particular. One argument is against romanticizing such behavior or even joking about it, and I completely understand where people are coming from when they speak about it that way, because on one hand, I completely agree. On the other hand, a lot of people just enjoy it or find it healing from their own experiences. I also can agree with that and see that side of it. There's no black and white here. I do worry when I see these people set up socials based around a certain role play or character archetype of similar, men behaving utterly toxic and making posts around full-on treating women that way. Stalking, abuse, obsession, it can go on. Now I, like plenty of others, can easily see a lot of that from the context it's meant for. Fun, hot, sensual, entertaining, and all of it. These men are attractive. A lot of what they say can be toxic, but also alluring. There are things that some women do enjoy hearing or getting off on, more so in the context of a BDSM style of relationship where the women like to be severely degraded, put down, and treated in certain ways that people could argue is bad and wrong. But again, we're talking about two consenting adults. Sadly, I've come across posts also shaming people that way. And I know if we don't understand something, it can be hard not to judge or otherwise. We also don't have control over what turns us on. Plenty of things are definitely wrong and shouldn't even be acted upon if you know it's morally wrong, or it could actually kill you. But then again, people who like to be choked or have a breath play kink can also be at risk. Fear play includes a lot of questionable activities. However, I don't think personally it's right to shame people around it. To head off those we all know like to try to argue to make you a bad person. Note, I pointed out above, I said, unless it's morally wrong or otherwise, as in animals, children, etc. Though again, there are furries and age play to come into question then. So I will state the things we know as decent human beings that should not be engaged in. I won't bother to list those exacts because those who want to attack and find wrong will pinpoint any word I use to purposely try to target me as bad or wrong through twisting of words and meaning, and the decent, mature human beings will see exactly what I mean. So whatever. It'd be like someone shaming, and they do, a person for liking missionary, very vanilla and plain, ordinary sex that to others could be beyond boring or wrong, so they too shame people for truly liking that and enjoying it. But I know that some think anyone into BDSM in any form at all or any semblance of activities that may fit into that realm are somehow unhinged and need help. They need therapy, unaware that many who genuinely do practice the art of BDSM have done therapy or are in therapy. They adhere to a strict set of rules. They are incredibly respectful and kind, and are deep, intelligent individuals who discuss boundaries and follow extremely strict rules that not even an ordinary couple would. A level of openness and honesty many fear and may never even get close to approaching. There is still a stigma with those who engage in that fringe sort of interests, and many want to lump all into one. Of the female and male doms and subs, slaves, pets that I've chatted with over the past year, maybe even more, I have yet to find someone seriously into that sort of relationship to be anything but extremely respectful and articulate, because they have to be. These people have to know themselves in a way that many just don't. They have to articulate wants and needs in a way that some never attempt to bother with. I'm again no expert, so please don't come for me if things are wrong about how I speak. I'm stating what I have seen and what I have experienced, and my attempts to learning more about more subjects. I'm not sure why people will go off on me sometimes for things I say, or expect me to be an expert in everything I speak, more so while I am very much learning and will be for my entire life. I know very little. This is not a journalist's podcast, yeah? Not a fact-checking political speaker. Just a person sharing her life experience, thoughts, what I went through, what I'm learning, what I'm educating myself around. I am not an expert. I'll never be. I'm a veteran writer, though, as I've done it for nearly 15 years now. I'm not the be-all, end-all. I'm not the holy God of all thoughts and opinions. Disagree, but be kind and civil. I'm sassy and bratty, yes, but I'm not smug. Do not think I know everything, and am always learning. But then, as they say, the ones who don't like those living authentically and being themselves will be targeted a lot by those doing the opposite. If you stand for anything and are trying to put yourself out there, you'll be attacked. It's how people are. I hate it. I disagree with it. But some don't control their emotional upset and dump it on you when they say something. I have even had someone say they hoped I had a miserable life because I don't like narcissists, when I don't like their behavior, but have never truly hated one that I can recall, unless my fatigue is messing with my memory so bad that I have. even if it doesn't come across as harsh to another. Oh, the person it's meant to shame will feel the attack. I'm just glad I'm seeing more men online personally commenting to others who go off on women and target them, and ensure these guys know, hey, no, I'm not sitting by and allowing that. I've seen more men blocking harassers to protect women specifically. And to you I say, thank you so much. Truly, thank you. Not sure why that has to be some ridiculous thing, but I'm glad for it. I appreciate it. I thank any of you guys who do it, who purposely comment to that specific man to make others see women are being watched out for. Anyway, I think it's important not to shame someone for a healthy thing they enjoy that turns them on. For some, if you say thank you, it will turn them on. For some, it's a certain outfit or a certain type of outfit. Hello, men in suits or uniforms. For some, yes, it's more extreme, and they enjoy being put down, degraded, and more. It's not for crazy. I've often noticed that many of us that grew up with certain behaviors inadvertently end up finding those things to be something we enjoy, as in spankings, being slapped, choked, or whatever else it could be for a person. I'm not trying to delve too deep about this, though I've been trying to educate myself more on those things. I want to use it for my writing and not screw it up, as much as I am learning more about myself and my own interests. But what concerns me more about the increasing number of social profiles with guys portraying a certain behavior, and even the women who all line up to play the other part, or the reverse, but me being a woman into men, shockingly means I see more male posts. I know, weird, It's the potential bad actors who either are behind those profiles, most I don't believe would be, or would see it and enjoy using it in that way that are concerning. So I do agree there is a line there that can be incredibly concerning around romanticizing certain behavior. In this case, I'm sticking with stalking. However, I want to also talk about another side of that, which may utterly horrify people to hear and understand. But there can be a zillion reasons for each individual as to why they focus on that information, profile, books, movies, etc. So I cannot ever truly touch on all of that, okay? I'm only going to list what comes to mind. Something I came across after I got raped and as I was healing and attempting to find anything to finally help me was how some women would recreate that in role play after long discussions with a romantic partner. They would essentially reenact that scenario in the best way they could. The idea back then when I learned about this practice utterly horrified me. I didn't think they were insane as much as the mere thought of that for me was horrible. How could someone want to recreate a scenario like that? Why on earth would someone want another person to hurt them that way? Well, then I learned more, and as time went on, I saw it for what it was. It was that the women thoroughly discussed it and made the decisions around it, which allowed them control. It was about taking back control for what happened to them and that event and recreating it to where they controlled it all. It was a forced sex role-play scenario, so a huge difference between consent, control, and no control and violations. Because our brains are funny little things, aren't they? If you create a fake scenario inside of your mind doesn't thoroughly understand that it's all fake. So by creating a situation where it seems like what happened before, but this time that individual is in control of it all, a healing takes place. The mind and body are no longer associating that event within as all bad, and the body remembering that situation, but it's recalling that event. Something begins to heal within. Like those who read horror because the fear is being controlled. You can choose to put the book down at any minute. You are in control of the level of fear and when or how it takes place. It's something within your control. Whereas it can happen when you read work with the themes of stalking or rape as well. It's a lot of the draw for dark romance and darker subjects in general. You as the reader are fully in control of it, in control of how you read it, whether you read it, when you read it, how long you read it. Same as when you've been through a lot of those events. Yes, for a long time I couldn't broach anything like that when I read, and sometimes certain scenes push me even now, but I have a high tolerance for darkness. Well, on the other side of that, many do read it for the sheer thrill of the situations. That's where, yes, romanticizing it comes in. But what many overlook is that it's not necessarily the reader seeking someone to do it to them. I'm not judging if they find a consensual adult and enjoy that sort of thing between them. However, some who enjoy it are enjoying what that person represents. Someone wholly focused on them, who accepts them, who sees them at their worst and is okay with it. Someone who would hurt anyone who hurts others, but not that person. Hurt being a subjective word. Again, in some of the stories, the person gets off on being hurt physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever. I'm not shaming them. I'm not going into that. I couldn't handle a person talking down to me, calling me negative things, because I lived with it. And it's not empowering to hear. I wasn't one who hears that, and it became some sort of thing to get off on. Be mean to me, and I'd just block you and be done with you. You'd crush me. So when people rightly argue against romanticizing that sort of thing, I do agree and feel similar to a point. Because if a not so good mentally individual happens to see that is a draw, they could feed on it, or take it on, or carry out really bad things. It could validate their bad side, which wouldn't be a good thing at all, and wouldn't be good to do. On the other side of it, I do personally enjoy reading about that sort of thing and having it in stories. So I understand the enjoyment of those subjects for people and understand it as a healthy outlet for many. But I also know what it's like to have stalkers. Ever since I was about 12 years old, I have had a stalker. Maybe just before then. I use 12 years of age as a reference because I was in 7th grade, and that's when the height of my first stalker came about. He wouldn't quit. Nothing ever stopped him. Not calls to the police, not a restraining order, nothing. Until I got a large guard dog. That, and his father sent him away to boot camp or military school. One of the two. I think it was military school, but now my mind is fuzzy on it. Anywho, I had another around 18 years of age. Again, nothing really stopped it until he was sent back to Mexico by his cousin because of that. Calls late at night wanting to talk to me, whistling at me. Lucky me, he lived across the street from me. When I'd go for a walk, rushing after me to try to talk to me. Constant harassment. He was the one who taught me any attention is attention for a person wanting your attention. It can be hateful, angry, but if you're giving them any attention, that's what they seek. It's what they need, what they thrive off of. Why I say block, delete, remove without hesitation. Then came my ex around 25 or so, and for the next 10 plus years. And around there, I got a lot of others that were online. My ex was both online and offline. Phone calls, drives past the house, online stalking, messages sent, and so much more I couldn't even begin to remember everything or think of everything. That one had no real reason for an end, if there even is one. It just got to the point I took back my power by no longer living my life based on the fear of being seen by him, by most. It doesn't mean that it isn't there. It doesn't mean I don't think about those things. I do, constantly. I think about a lot of stuff I do and have changed plenty of my behavior, but I don't remain invisible and hidden because of all of that. Many could logically argue that it's dangerous, and it is. More so when someone has as bad of temper as my ex did. However, I also won't live my life based off of continuing to give others control over me unless I choose that. And guess what? I don't choose that. You don't get to control my life. You don't get to decide what is best for me. You don't get to decide how I behave. If I want to misbehave, if I want to act up, if I want to be a child and immature, oh, I will. I will act however I choose to, and suffer the mistakes or consequences of those actions, as I do every freaking day from everything that has ever happened to me that I didn't choose, that I didn't ask for. And you might be one of those who get off on holding me to such a high standard that I'll never reach that bar and put me down for yet another mistake, all while out there making plenty of your own. Oh well, I'm human, as is everyone else doing things because we aren't robots, and sometimes we just don't overanalyze everything we do, and we don't strictly behave in accordance with every single perfectly handled situation. We all mess up. We all make mistakes. They become learning lessons. I've made plenty. I have kept myself contained in a box and found myself hurt a lot. Then I stopped doing so and opened up and found myself hurt less. I found myself grow a group around me who are protective and good to me, and who allow me to be myself. That's something that hit me recently when I was discussing, honestly, I don't remember. I was thinking about the group of people who used to surround me versus now. There's such a dramatic difference. A lot of it I do understand too, is that I reached that point where I determined what was best for me and the type of people I wanted around me. Then, I didn't allow anything outside of that near me. I determined the type of person who was best for me and how I'd feel around them, then focused on those who gave me that. I set standards, boundaries, limits, and I stuck with them no matter how hard it was, no matter how hard, no matter how much work it took, no matter how tiresome it could be. So I do completely understand the wrong of romanticizing anything around stalkers or otherwise. I do also understand the healthy outlet that books with that theme as a romance can also have. I do also understand that many could never imagine anyone enjoying anything dark or otherwise abnormal, but personally I come from a place where I have experienced that. So for me, I can see yet another nuanced topic that has no real black and white answer for any single person. There are plenty of people out there who say this subject is wrong, so therefore anyone who acknowledges it is wrong. Anyone who writes it is wrong. Literally everything I ever do, I deem as wrong because I have been criticized down into the dirt all my life. And it's only now that I'm starting to learn even the way my body might react to a situation is perfectly normal because I'm seeing it from others. I'm reading books that show a person experiencing that and the partner seeing nothing wrong with it, and that affects me mentally. That's what a lot of people might miss. When we read, as I say, every story changes us. We are experiencing that situation firsthand in a way, even if it's not about us, even if we're not directly involved, even if we don't agree with it, even if we've never even thought about it. When we read a subject in fiction and as a story, and we actively engage that space, we're going, okay, so this isn't being criticized, and it's being accepted. This is something that I do too. So this isn't wrong to feel. It can happen with a social media post. You read that person experience the same feelings as you, and before you thought maybe that wasn't right. But now you read everyone making clear that it's normal, that it isn't a bad behavior, that this is good to do. I can often feel that reading men discussing traits that they like in women and then realize, wow. So while I wasn't appreciated for being that way, me behaving this way is why now I am being appreciated. Guys like the type of woman I am. When I was made to feel growing up that being more traditional or submissive toward a partner while in a relationship and letting the man lead was wrong, I was expected to work harder than he. It starts to change your mind. Reading that sort of thing or hearing stories in a positive light in the end for that person can make you absorb it and heal something inside of you. At the end of the day, I logically gather too that I may yet get another one or have one that I know nothing about. And at this point, it's become life for me. Being online and in the public eye, that's bound to happen anyway. Often guys will hear that I was stalked and almost try to keep themselves distant too, out of concern that they may be seen as crossing a line. They worry over how they act and behave. And let me re-explain something. A guy being intense and solely focused on me, always around and giving me tons of attention that I'm reciprocating, is not a stalker. A guy vetting me online and searching me out, or wanting to follow my profiles and what I do, is not a stalker. A guy deciding to find me online to purposely comment cruel and nasty comments for me turning him down is verging on one. A guy following my every single move online, constantly harassing me via comments and messages, especially if I have told him no or blocked him. A guy making new accounts to harass me or telling others to do so, or harassing people around me. Sitting outside of my house, smoking and staring at the house, following me around and making me call the police because I have told him multiple times to leave me alone and stay the hell away from me. That's a stalker. I like intensity and solid focus, lots of attention. I'm reciprocating it. That's a huge difference. Stalkers don't tend to worry over being deemed stalkers. You're fine. More to come. Would you like to make a difference? A gift of 5, 10, 15, or more would make a huge impact on my ability to keep this podcast going for you and upgrade my equipment. With your gift, we can grow this together because I want to make this the best I can for you. And frankly, you would help so much with far more than that. You'd be helping me change my life. Give today at ko-fi.com/Kimberly Sue Iverson. That's ko-fi.com/Kimberly Sue Iverson. Your presence here matters so much to me, so thank you for being here. I am beyond grateful you chose to spend this time with me. What are your thoughts? Share with me and start a conversation. Just don't be rude about it. Remember, kings and queens, everyone is fighting battles inside nobody can see. Who are you willing to see today? And who are you willing to let see you today? I hope someone can bring a smile to you today, or you can bring a smile to someone else. If you would like the chance for your story to be read, whether it's something you wrote, a story passed down in your family, or have a suggestion on a story to read, get in touch. Stories to read at KimberlySueIverson.com. That's stories to read at KimberlySueIverson.com. If you'd like to follow my socials, I would love to have you. Don't ever hesitate to comment and say hi either. Find me under at Kimberly Sue Iverson for most sites: Instagram, Threads, Facebook, Blue Sky, and TikTok. There's also a Facebook page for Redhead Rewriting Reality. X is the only site I use Kimber Bites on. I also have a newsletter for my work. That's bit.ly/letters from Kimberly. bit.ly/letters from Kimberly. I always try to use the same profile picture and name no matter where I am, but you can always find my links on my link cave. That's KimberlySueIverson.com/link cave. That's LINKCAVE.